Hey everybody, Lindsay Lexus here. So today's video is about pregnancy, and if you can read in the title, I'm sure, kidney stones and pregnancy, which I didn't know a lot about until about 2.5 weeks ago when I turned 30 weeks pregnant. I went to work and I felt fine the whole day and hit the end of my shift probably about 20 minutes before I was supposed to get off, and I just started having this weird like back side pain, and I was just like, I don't know what's going on. Is there something wrong with my pregnancy, or am I having Braxton Hicks? So it was just this kind of like dull pain I'd never experienced before, and so I was like, oh, maybe I'm just like tight there, maybe I have a tight muscle. I stretched out my side and let it like stretch out, and I was just like, well, maybe this will help. That's when the pain started to escalate, and it was like this stabbing pain that was just so like mind consuming. Like, it was crazy. So it was good that it happened at the end of my shift because I could get everything done that I needed to get done quickly, and then I was able to leave work and I got in my car to drive home. I call my husband on the phone. I'm like, hey honey, I don't feel good. Like, there's something wrong. It's a good thing I only work like 2 blocks away from my house. So I got in my car and I'm like, I'm coming home. I'll probably need help out of the car. My side hurts so bad. I don't know what's going on. Devin, my wonderful husband's like, okay, I'll come help you out of the car. And I'm just like, I can't even like sit still in the seat because just the pain is just radiating, and it's just so awful. The worst pain I've ever been in. I come home and I just collapse on this couch because the front door is right there. I walked, I took off my boots, and I just collapsed on the couch. My wonderful puppy was just sitting there watching me and being all worried about me. Say hi, Minion. My husband was outside because I was just like, I'm just gonna lay here, I'm gonna see if it goes away. I was like looking up like side pain during pregnancy, severe left side pain, and I text him and I'm like, I need you to come inside right now. So I got him to call the ER. I was laying on the couch, but I couldn't sit still. I had to like keep moving. I couldn't sit still, and that's kind of a really common symptom in kidney stones, is that you can't sit still, you have to keep moving. It's too painful to sit. But he called the ER and he said, my wife is 30 weeks pregnant and she's having severe left side pain. They asked a bunch of questions and I wasn't showing any other symptoms other than the pain. And so they're like, well, you need to bring her in. They were more concerned about the baby and I was more concerned about the baby. We headed to the ER and I didn't think that I'd like tear up, but I'm tearing up a little bit. It's okay, I'm pregnant, I can cry. So we got to the ER, we walk in and we get brought in right away, and they walk me into an ER room. They start monitoring the baby. This child does not want to be monitored. He just hides. He like moves away from the monitor whenever they put one down. He's like, no, I don't want to be near that thing. I just want to be hanging out, chilling. So it takes them forever to like get a heartbeat steady and like for them to be able to monitor the heartbeat of the baby. They make me do a urine sample and they check me, and honestly, like, they're like, it's gotta be a kidney issue. We don't think you're going into labor. But when we had called the ER, Devin said that they wanted us to go into the labor and delivery like section of the hospital first, and I'm like, I'm not ready. And I was like, we don't even have a car seat. I don't have a hospital bag. I was just freaking out, okay? So hence the car seat. We have a car seat and a stroller now, and I feel more prepared if something were to happen. They ended up finding blood in my urine, which gave them the indication that I had a kidney stone and that it was lodged in my ureter, which is the tube that connects your kidney to your bladder. Then they did an ultrasound to try and find the kidney stone to see if they could see it, the baby, and there's too much stuff in the way to be able to see anything. The ultrasound technician wasn't able to find anything, and I didn't expect them to, but it was good to know that the baby was okay and that everything was all right. Like, I had to like beg for pain medication, but they had to wait for my diagnosis to be able to know what to give me. I just kept saying, I'm in so much pain, I'm in so much pain. And I have a low pain tolerance, so I was a mess. But like, once they had like alleviated some of the pain, it wasn't completely gone, but a lot of it was, and I was able to relax and I was able to sleep. That was awesome. But so they came back with the ultrasound. Everything seemed okay. This was around 11 o'clock at night. We'd probably gone into the ER around 7 that night, and I was out of the ER by 11:30. And I was fine. Like, I was exhausted, but I was fine. We got home, I fell asleep. Devin and I slept through the whole night, but the next day we ended up going house hunting, and by the end of the house hunting, I was completely exhausted, but I still felt fine. Like, I didn't hurt at all. I was completely fine. Then that night I fell asleep, and around 3 o'clock in the morning I woke up and I could just feel the pain again in my back, and I was like, oh no. I hope it's just like a residual pain that goes away. And it was like a dull pain like I had at work 2 days before. And I was like, okay, hopefully it goes away. But it slowly over the course of probably about 2 hours just started getting worse. So 5 in the morning I was in like excruciating pain, and it wouldn't let up. Pain pills would help for a minute. It would burn off really quickly. So maybe I'd be fine for about half an hour after the pain pills kicked in, but then it would come back full force, and I was miserable. And so we called the ER again, and they just said, if the pain pills aren't working, then you might need to come in or go to an Instacare. Being the people that we are, because we're like, we just went to the ER and we don't want to go back, we were like, okay, let's try and go to an Instacare. Our ER is 5 minutes that way. The Instacare is half an hour that way. And this car ride was the worst car ride of my entire life. Oh my gosh. So I'm in the car dying, and I didn't want to take any more pain pills because I wasn't supposed to for a little bit. When you're in so much pain, that's all you can think about. I was like holding my back and just like trying to I'd lean my chair back, and then I'd lean it forward, and then I'd lean it back, and then I'd lean it forward. Like, it's hard to sit in a car when you're in that much pain, because like at least when I was home I could walk around. It didn't alleviate the pain, but it distracted me and it wore me out. I don't know, it just was helpful somehow. I don't really know, I don't totally get it. Doesn't completely make sense to me, but you know, that's how it happened. We're driving down the road. Devin is just, he looks completely helpless. So we ended up getting to the Instacare. So we park and I jump out of the car. I'm like, I can't sit here anymore. I need to get out. Immediately, one of the nurses walks right up to me, because she can see that I'm in like excruciating pain, or like something is completely horribly wrong with me. And she's like, so we have a 3-hour wait, what's going on? Like, I'm like, a 3-hour wait? In my head I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. And so I look at her and I'm like, I have kidney stones. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, and I'm 30 weeks pregnant. You could just like see the oh no look on her face, and she's like, you know what, I'm just gonna say, go to the ER. It was just like the biggest letdown I've ever heard in my life. In hindsight, honestly, it was a blessing that they sent us away. Like, it was a good thing they sent us away, because they wouldn't have been able to do much anyway. Like, they probably could have given me medication, but that wouldn't have fixed the issue. And I just like, in my head I'm like, we have a half-hour drive back to the ER. We get into the car and we start driving, and I took some Tylenol on the way home, and I ended up getting really drowsy on the way home because I hadn't slept more than 3 hours that night, and I was just so exhausted. We started driving home, and we're probably about 5 minutes from home when Devin says, okay, you decide, we're going to the ER or we're going home. And I'm like, let's just take me home right now because I feel okay. I feel all right for a minute. I just want to sleep. And I lay down and I fall asleep pretty quickly. And then I am asleep for about half an hour until I wake up. Devin comes upstairs because he heard me waking up, and he's like, I wish you'd slept longer. And I was like, me too. And then he's like, so how are you feeling? I'm like, I'm not feeling great, dude. Like, I don't feel very good. I feel like we need to go to the ER. I feel like we need to go back. But I was at my wit's end, and I think Devin was too, and we had no idea what to do. And with me being 30 weeks pregnant, it just wasn't worth the risk to me. So we ended up going back into the hospital that afternoon around 1 o'clock, and we're admitted very quickly. They just start helping me. They gave me morphine, which was interesting and really nice once it finally started working. And we just had doctors in and out monitoring baby, making sure he was okay, and he was completely fine. He didn't even care what was going on. Like, finally we were able to get the pain under control, and they did another urine test. They did more blood tests. They were just testing me. They did another ultrasound just on the kidney. There's just not much they can do for kidney stones when you're pregnant because it's not safe for the baby. It was probably around like 2 or 3 in the afternoon when they finally came in saying, hey, this is what's going on. You can try and go home and pass this stone, but it seems like it's a horrible blockage that's just not gonna go away. Or there's a procedure that a urologist can come in and, I don't know what the procedure is, but basically they take a tube and they insert it into that tube, connection between your kidney and your bladder, and it just sits there and stops any blockage from happening because it lets the flow of urine go. And me and my husband talked about it, and we're like, let's just do the procedure. It'll be so much more worth it. It's the necessary thing we have to do for me to be able to get through this pregnancy, basically, is what we decided. We ended up doing the surgery. Spinal anesthesia in me. It's basically like a mini epidural that doesn't last quite as long, and they put the stent in. And after the procedure, the urologist came and talked to me, and he said that there was a kidney stone inside my ureter, and they had pushed it back with the stent into my kidney. So I still have a kidney stone, but it's not creating a blockage, and that's what causes a lot of the pain, because the urine has nowhere to go and it just sits there in your kidney. They keep me overnight for observation of mostly just observing the baby, making sure that I don't go into labor, that I don't start having contractions because of the procedure. And I was fine. I think I had a couple like odd contractions here and there, but nothing that was concerning. But my poor husband just slept on the couch in the hospital, and that poor guy. But yeah, so I still have the stent in, and I will be getting that out around 36 weeks, so that'll be an interesting experience. I'll get it out, and then they'll put a new one in until I have the baby, and hopefully that procedure goes well, and hopefully I don't go into labor during that procedure or after that procedure. And we just want to make sure that the baby's okay, and he seems to be fine. He's doing his kick counts every day, and he's a good boy, and yeah. I'm doing a lot better. The first week after they put the stent in, I didn't go to work, and I was in a lot of pain. Not anything compared to what I was in pain before. The stent has alleviated a ton of the pain, but it causes other kinds of pain. So that's my kidney stone story of being 30 weeks pregnant. Yeah, so if you want to watch more videos, there's one here and one here that you can click on. And yeah, so don't forget to subscribe up in this corner. And I will see you guys in my next video. You guys are amazing. So thanks so much for watching, and bye.